Dan Sianka. Dan, what are you tracking out there?
Well, drive-in sounds like an awful lot of fun, but we're actually tracking a hurricane. Now, I don't want you to get all worried and think the hurricane's headed our way. It's very, very difficult for tropical systems to get anywhere close to the Central Coast because the water offshore is in the 50s and at the most low 60s. And these things like to be in water that's like 80 degrees plus. So once they start getting in the cold water, they don't do anything. But either way, right now we have a Category 2 hurricane. This is Alita, 100-mile-per-hour sustained winds. This is Baja, California. Alita will stay out over the open Pacific, will not have any direct impacts anywhere, and will continue to dissipate as we head into the day tomorrow. However, some of its moisture will be drawn up here to the Central Coast Thursday and Friday, and that may make things interesting later on in the week for us. It's all going to be pulling around this big area of high pressure off to our southeast. You can see the clockwise flow around it, so that is the mechanism pumping that moisture up. Now, this area of high pressure hasn't done a lot to pump monsoon moisture up into the desert southwest over the last couple of weeks. It's been pretty dry, which is typically the time of year right now when they're seeing a lot of thunderstorms in places like Phoenix, Arizona, but they haven't seen much. This will certainly help add some moisture into the system. On top of that, the ridge, which you can see right here, the big red blob, is going to actually get a little bit closer to us here in California. So we head into the weekend and into next week. It will also bring its hot, dry air along with it. So it's got some moisture associated with it, but also some dry air, and it's kind of like several different layers. So we've got the moist layer that's up top, and that's where we could potentially see some rain, and then this big dry layer, and then our marine layer, which is right near the coast. So anything that forms above us is going to have to get through the dry layer to get to us. So any raindrops from a thunderstorm, for example, that were to develop overhead would have to get through this dry layer, and that is where a lot of evaporation takes place. So unfortunately, a lot of precipitation can reach the ground in these situations, but sometimes lightning can. So that is not necessarily a good situation. But what I'm leading into is we do actually have the potential for some maybe semi-dry thunderstorms later on this week. So let's get to that on FUTURECAST. It's not going to happen tomorrow, so expect mostly dry conditions tomorrow. We're going to wake up to low clouds around the bay and into the valleys like we have been waking up to for the last 3 weeks or so. And then into the afternoon, somewhat of a clearer day across the coast. Some patchy clouds will be possible out there, but it's going to be Thursday morning when we start to see some of this moisture move in from the south. So this is 11 a.m. on Thursday, and may make it into southern Monterey and San Benito counties. We can see the clouds, we can see the moisture associated with it. With that said, again, I think if something does develop, it will be pretty high above the ground. We may not see much in the way of rain, and unfortunately, we could see some lightning. So that is still somewhat of a low chance. We'll keep an eye on things into the later portions of the week, but right now it's looking like late Thursday morning into Thursday afternoon, potentially something on Friday as well. Otherwise, here are your Wednesday temperatures. We'll go through these quickly. Up in the hills, will be in the 80s to 90 degrees in the Santa Cruz Mountains. Down along the coast, upper 60s to low 70s. East shore of the bay, mostly in the 60s. We warm into the 70s in Watsonville and Salinas, 80s and 90s farther inland. Over to the Monterey Peninsula tomorrow, you're going to stay in the 60s to around 70 degrees. Should be a pretty nice day in Monterey. We'll get some sunshine in the afternoon as well. And then farther south, the Salinas Valley, pretty comfortable, mostly 70s and 80s, but the southern valleys will be hot with triple digits there in Bradley. Okay, so the next 7 days, with that big ridge moving in, we're going to warm up even on the coast. So we'll drop maybe 5 degrees or so. But again, watching Thursday to Friday with some moisture potential up there, and another round of tropical moisture streams in from the south next week, Monday and Tuesday time frame. So we could potentially see a second round of maybe some somewhat wet weather. Inland areas, I've got thunderstorms in the forecast for you on Thursday, but in the south, so southern Monterey and San Benito counties, and it'll be an isolated chance. But the temperatures will be much warmer. It will be muggier, which is probably not something you'll enjoy all that much. And again, we'll be watching for several rounds. Lots of changes could happen in the forecast in the coming days, so please stay tuned. Back to you.